All right, let's call F&A committee together. If city clerk will note attendance, we'll move on with the agenda, which I had up a minute ago. All right. Approval of the agenda. Are there any alterations or questions in regards to the agenda? I believe there is one item staff has asked to remove. The financial management policy. That'll come back in 2 weeks.
Correct.
All right. Any objections to removing that agenda, Bill?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Kara, let me know if you have any objections. Otherwise, I'm gonna assume yay. All right, with that, let's remove that agenda, Bill, and take the agenda as written. We will open up to public comments or any members of the public, staff, or whoever wishing to make comments before the committee. Please be aware, we don't take online comments at this stage. If you have, information you want to get to the committee, go ahead and send it to council members at Snoqualmie. And we will read it. All right, seeing nobody raise their hand, we'll move on to approval of the minutes dated October 7th, 2025. Chair has no questions or alterations. Councilman Johnson, you're okay?
Yep.
Councilman Christensen, are you okay? Okay. I'm gonna assume she's okay at this stage and we'll move on. All right, with that, unless there are objections, we'll take the minutes as presented as approved. Here are no objections, they are approved. Let's move on to approval of warrants or claims, warrants and claims, sorry. Dated October 27th, 2025. Chair has no questions or clarifications, nor have I received any in email. Councilor Johnson, or do you have, Johnson, you have any questions or? Nope. All right, we'll move forward with the claims and warrants as presented and move that forward to council. Let's move to Agenda Bill AB 25093, resolution adopting Snoqualmie Valley School District Capital Facilities Plan 2025-2030. Here she comes.
Good evening. I don't have a formal presentation, but I'm happy to run through this. I feel like you probably know how this works because we do this every year. So we will bring the capital facilities plan to you to be adopted through resolution, and then an ordinance will come adopting the actual school district or school impact fees for the district. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not.
Has staff reviewed and have any concerns in regards to the school district capital facilities plan?
No, the school district takes lead agency, so they issue their own SEPAs. They provide us with their capital facility plan. In my experience, no city has ever questioned what they send us for the capital facility plan.
You can mark
We did.
one city did.
Oh,
This is city,
oh, okay.
some years ago.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't have any concerns with it. They did increase, they're recommending that we increase their school impact fee for single family homes this year, but the multifamily fee is staying the same.
Any questions or?
This might be appropriate to just go on the consent agenda for the next council meeting. I know we've got a pretty packed schedule, so I'm sorry.
Just a resolution. Not an ordinance.
It's a resolution, and then the ordinance that adopts the impact fees will have 2 readings in
Right.
November.
Yeah, I'm willing to go consent on this because it's the next one. That would be the argument, if there was gonna be an argument. All right, let's move forward with that agenda bill. Let's put it on consent. With that, we'll move on to Agenda Bill 25094, AHBL contract amendment.
Okay, so I entered into a contract with the HBL at the beginning of the year for a senior planner to come help me with just all the things, planning when we were short-staffed. And right towards the end of that contract, the planner had accepted a job somewhere else, so I knew that contract was coming to an end. But at the very final invoice, we realized that that went over by about $4,000. So I'm bringing a contract amendment before the council just to disclose that we exceeded that contract by $4,826. So this also may be one that we could put on the consent agenda, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Was the contract not to exceed or fixed price?
It was not to exceed $50,000. I did reach out to the consultant and say, hey, you were supposed to remind me when you were getting close. But they said, yes, we're sorry, we missed that, so.
Really?
It's not that they have to remind you, it's that they only get paid to the not to exceed amount. That's the term of the contract.
So, yeah, what?
Is this
Well,
were we satisfied with the service provided?
yes, we had a very good planner that came in and supported us, helped us through a lot of planning commission issues. You may recall it was Andrew Love. I know Councilmember Johnson knows who he is. Went through all the color palette discussions with the planning commission and with the council.
Okay. have-
Really helped
have-
us out
oh,
when
but
we didn't have any planning staff here.
Not too concerned about the individual in
Yeah.
question. Have we had other contracts with this particular supplier?
Not that I'm aware of, but I would like to continue to have contracts with them in the future.
And then you're asking me to reward bad behavior and to continue the relationship. You keep saying something over here. I keep hearing.
Saying anything, you just-
Oh,
I would definitely keep a better handle on this in the future. I feel like it was a little bit on me too. I should have been keeping a closer eye. We did get a little behind this year in our invoicing and tracking everything and just a lot of moving parts. So I apologize for that. Normally, we would be more on top of that.
there is contract administration.
Yeah.
Agreed with that part. However, it's a term of the contract, it is in there of not to exceed. Doesn't matter how good or bad you are at contract administration, term of the contract is not to exceed.
Mhm.
We can go above and beyond depending on if we want to be, and that's why I asked the questions of, do we want to continue the relationship? Has this been a good vendor? And things like that. But nor do I want to reward unexpected behavior. Um, Go ahead.
Okay, then I just want to make sure, was this contractor in any way related to the one that helped the planning commission with the greenhouse or with the climate
No,
elements?
they're
Okay,
completely
just making
different
sure.
consultants. Yes.
All right, I didn't think so, I just want to make sure. Okay,
She there as well?
yeah.
So has there been any consideration to splitting the difference?
I would have concern about that because the contractor could have arguments about unjust enrichment, that we received the benefit of the work. So they could bring a claim against the city. So I would caution against that option.
In disagreement with a not to exceed clause?
We still received the benefit of those services, so they could still bring a claim of unjust enrichment against the city. So I would just caution against that. There's potential for negotiation with a contractor, but a straight out denial of it, I would caution against.
Then why do I ever write a not to exceed contract? I'm sorry, I can't take the argument. Well, I take the argument that there is a risk.
Right.
And all it takes is to sue is to get a lawyer. There is a risk of having suit brought for that, but I'm comfortable at this is in violation of a specific clause that is in the contract. And I'm looking to be nice and not to reward bad behavior, to say, we'll split the difference because we like you and we'd like to continue the relationship, but not to exceed means not to exceed.
If I could just,
how do you-
if I could just explain maybe
disagree.
what happened.
I disagree.
Yeah.
In August, I had scheduled a vacation at the same time this contract planner had taken a new position to go to a city to work. So he's leaving private consultant to go to a city. And because I was on vacation, I had asked him to put in a little extra time to help for coverage while I was gone. We had a brand new associate planner at the time. And also I asked him to write up, everything he was working on and all the procedures that he had developed and everything throughout his time. So that did incur extra time that I don't think either one of us really had on our radar around those normal 16 hours a week. So I think that's what might have been the factor that tipped it over the edge at the final invoice.
Yeah, it's still just landing on the principle of the thing. I mean, the dollar amount is the better part of $5,000 going to bankrupt the city? No, but this is about the principle of the thing, and the idea that there was supposed to be a not to exceed clause, and I am confused why, as Councilmember Holloway said, why do we ever have those then, if they can just go ahead and blow right through it? I mean, what if we have a contract in the future that's for, $200,000, and they're like, oh, we'll just do a bunch of stuff for $300,000, tell them about it afterward, and guess what? Now we get an extra $100,000, and then, yeah, I'm just really curious, like, where's the boundary on this?
So
Yeah.
can we take this back to staff? Can you have a discussion with the vendor in question? Have them understand that if it comes back to us at the $5,000, it stands a chance of the council and committee saying, no, not to exceed. That there may not be an argument at splitting the cost difference. Okay, because one or both parties may be at fault here. But the cost for that doesn't solely sit on one of the parties. All right? Is that reasonable? Go ahead. Get you now.
I wanted to answer your question about where's the future.
Yeah,
So
where's the line?
Where,
on that?
where the future is, we're about to deploy the contract module in Tyler, and we'll have much better oversight of process and control. I do believe Drew said earlier in the week, and I'm sorry, Drew, if I'm misquoting you, but I think he said he has 4 meetings with Tyler before the end of the month, and it goes live in November. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Drew.
No, we've got 4 internal meetings before the end of the month, basically. We have our go live happening around November the 4th and the 5th as well. So that's a committee date at that time as well, that we're going to go live with the contract management module, in addition to the project accounting module. The goal is to establish as a part of that module overall an alert system. An alert system that would tell someone like Mona, when are they approaching, right, the contract threshold, which is in this case would be $50,000. Right now, the contract management process is generally kind of decentralized. We have worked out a process that includes Laserfiche as a part of the overall process that we've designed in relation to Tyler Munis. But what's going to be really critical is making sure that we've got those alerts set up so that Mona is notified when we're starting to approach the total amount of the contract, so that she can go back and get that paperwork started earlier rather than later, which is what's happening in this case.
Thank you.
Piece, but same thing. You don't get billed till after the work is done. You may or may not catch it, depending on, this is a small dollar amount. It may not have gotten caught by the new management system just because it's the final invoice. Okay, so nice to know, keep going, yay, but I'm not sure it's relevant to this particular one.
Like,
Kara, you had a,
Yeah, so 2 points, just going back to some of the arguments that I've heard. So within the scope of their employment and what they were supposed to do, this is just looking at Exhibit A, the scope of the work. They were supposed to be going back and presenting reports to, among others, city council and to coordinate with staff. And then just in my day job, when I was previously working, we would act as like an outside managing counsel firm and supervise law firms that were handling things for our clients as well. And if somebody came in over budget, the answer is absolutely not. And I've heard that we would like to maintain the relationship with them going forward, but they should also be wanting to maintain the relationship with us going forward. And if they're developing a reputation about going over on their contract items, that's not going to look good for them either. So I am supportive of what the Mayor Pro Tem said, and I do have concerns. Again, it's not a huge dollar amount. I get that things happen, but I don't love it, right? So,
And nor do I want Snoqualmie to get the reputation of not to exceed farm fixed price. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have the contract.
Yeah.
So.
Next thing I'll get people intentionally low bidding contracts.
Mhm.
That's not what we want. Okay, you guys will take that back for discussion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And we'll pull it off the agenda for this week or next week. Remind me when we get to the actual agenda portion. All right, with that, we'll move on to Agenda Bill 25090, server upgrades.
Thank you, committee. This will be my third agenda bill with you guys. Just to let you know, there is a mistake on there. We found out the labor cost is below the threshold. So we pulled that off the agenda bill. We'll take care of that with the city administrator's sign off on it. I will tell you the amount was $18,000 for the labor. So that is under the $50,000 for the project. This is just the purchase of 3 servers to move to what we call a non-converged environment. So hyperconverged just means, I think I've explained it on there, is the storage lives on the servers and you connect the servers together through networking. We're going to create a different structure because we don't need that kind of compute because it increases cost. So the reason that was set up is to provide the virtual desktops that the city used to have. So, but then during COVID, we moved to laptops. So, and we're on laptop replacement cycle now. That is the workflow everybody prefers to use. And I've also heard horror stories of the VDI in implementation. So I'm here to answer any questions. I just want to give you a quick synopsis of what's going on and answer any questions you have about that agenda bill.
So you're talking $58,000 for the hardware cost for 3 servers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I was looking for where did it say the dollar amount? I just don't see it on the,
Sorry, that was also another issue we had. Finance did a review of it. It is within budget, but it is on the quote that is attached.
On the quote.
okay.
With tax, here I can, it's in 60s, low 60s.
It'd be nice if it was on the splash page too, for
Yes.
the agenda
Yeah, we
bill.
can fix that for council.
All right.
And was this,
It is a capital expenditure that we allocated for.
and
Yeah, the
what-
125,000 this year and 200,000 for next year.
so instead of 125,000, you're gonna spend about 60,000?
No, I am going to spend a little over this year, but next year we're going to spend less. I want to get front loaded with the next agenda bill. I'll make that comment on there.
Okay, now I see it.
Hmm?
Yeah, now I see it.
I can't tell you the last.
Gotta scroll down to the end of the.
Yeah, the last quote I got was before I came on board was about $500,000. So when I did our budget, I kind of estimated down, and then at that time, the structure was unknown because I was only 4 months into the position.
So the servers that this is replacing,
Yes, we've decommissioned some servers, but I don't know if you read my updates. We've been kind of reusing old servers because of some licensing issues. The vendor wanted to double our cost of licensing. So we've moved to a different platform. So that changed our structure. So I have 4 current servers that were the VDI environment. We're going to reuse those at another site. So that way we can have 2 clusters working together. So we'll have a 3 cluster and a 4 cluster. Something goes wrong here, we lose connection, that cluster takes over. So that's just basic, backup site
Mhm.
structure we're building. Hopefully that's the reason we went with 3, because we don't need as much compute to run as if we would run virtual desktops. So it's about 1.5 terabytes of RAM. That's more than enough. Currently, we're at 47 servers. We went from 248 to 47 machines.
Repeat the numbers again. You went from 248 to 47?
Yes, because we had, I think I've made updates. We had the VDI infrastructure was still running, even though it was not getting used. So I worked with the team and we got it decommissioned.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. Consent or non-consent?
I'm good with consent.
You okay with consent?
As long as we update the agenda, Bill.
Huh?
As long as we update the agenda, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
please
yeah, we'll
the agenda,
update
Bill.
it tomorrow.
Okay, consent.
Yep.
All right. And again, anybody can pull it off if they later are uncomfortable. All right, server storage upgrade?
That's the one we just did, yeah.
Yep.
The storage upgrade, yes, storage upgrade, yes. Sorry, you added the word server and I was like, oh,
Well, there's two.
yes,
Agenda bills. There's
yes,
server
sorry.
upgrades and server
There's- and yeah,
storage.
I
Oh.
apologize. I wrote it that way, and in my head, it says storage upgrade. So yes, so we're moving, as I said, since we're moving for a hyper-converged environment, we're gonna have to carve out storage. The current storage we have is mostly for file storage. And since the onboard storage we had is faster, I needed a faster array. So the goal for this is to eventually decommission the NetApp and to move our file storage over there. And this was the best option for cost saving. So here's the structure I'm thinking about. I've used Pure Storage at the school district. It is magnificent. There's no issues. It works. And it just kind of just plugs away. So what we'll end up doing, instead of having the onboard storage, we'll connect it through fiber channel, which is fiber optic cables, directly to the new servers. And then all the machines will live on that storage. The goal for that is it keeps it more modular. So, and also it helps with deduplication because Pure Storage that was one of the big selling points for me for them a few years ago, is the dedupe is pretty good. Deduplication means if you have same bits, it's going to make one copy versus multiple copies of it. So you're saving money on how much storage you're using. So let's say you have Windows Server software. Well, if you have the same software running on all your other servers, that's one copy for all those other servers. So that was the plus that we had with that storage. The other piece is if we do move everything over to there, we can use the NetApp for the rest of because you guys did approve it a couple years ago. We can use that at the backup location, and we can reuse it as a backup solution. So that will save us costs for next year, because will be my focus for next year will be backups, making sure we have more resiliency and making sure we're being a little bit better about it.
We're not doing backups today?
We are doing backups, but I want a more resilient solution than what we have.
Define resilient.
I have to be careful what I say because it's a cybersecurity issue. Let's say offsite backups or more like cloud backups. So I would have onsite and then I would go to the cloud as another backup. So that way it would be structured that way. Right now we do have offsite backups, but they're kind of, they're not in the best place I would prefer.
I'm not good. Any questions? I'm gonna hold off because I'm gonna geek out and ask questions and I shouldn't. All right. So this one is the $60,000 one. The other one was 50 something or other, 58. Does that include tax?
No, this vendor does not include tax. I'm going to put that on the budget summary. I'll make sure we get it on there.
So this will be like $66,000.
And for that array, that was about the same price I paid for it 6 years ago. So they really want to sell me this appliance, obviously. And it's all under pre-bid contract and set up, and I've included the contract on the agenda bill.
Okay. Consent, non-consent?
It's fine.
Yeah, good with consent.
Consent, all right, we'll move forward with that.
Thank you.
Same
Thank
thing
you.
about, just updating the splash page.
Yes, yes, we'll get that done. Thank you.
And we move the financial management policy off till next time. Then we have an ordinance amending the minimum licensing threshold for out-of-city business and SMC.
Yes, what an incredibly fun subject this is. In essence, this ordinance seeks to amend a portion of the code that concerns business licenses by increasing the minimum licensing threshold for out-of-city businesses from $2,000 to $4,000, under which an out-of-city business would not have to pay a business license fee, and establish an increase in the threshold every 4 years based on the change in the June to June consumer price index during that period. Purpose of doing this is to match a model ordinance that was recently approved by the AWC this year and their committee. In essence, if you're not aware, all businesses, or sorry, not all businesses, but all cities across the state of Washington adopt a model ordinance. The intention of a model ordinance is to impose uniformity across the different cities, so the administrative burden for businesses is less across the board. This applies not only to business licenses, but B&O taxes as well. In essence, the business community of the state requested a review of the model ordinance given the dramatic increase in online sales and deliveries over the past decade or so. As a result, the AWC established a working committee to review the proper minimum licensing threshold for out-of-city businesses. And as a result, because they adopted that as a part of the model ordinance, we then have to come back and adopt that as a part of our ordinance as well. If we don't do this, in essence, we'll be out of compliance with state law, specifically RCW 35.90.080, which requires us to adopt the model ordinance that's approved by basically this AWC working committee. In addition to that, the DOR has already incorporated this into their system design for the effective date of January 1 of 2026. So in essence, we're making sure that our code matches what's exactly required as a part of the model ordinance. The impact of this is 101 businesses fall between the old $2,000 threshold and the new $4,000 threshold. And if all these businesses opt out of obtaining a business license, then the city would receive approximately $3,000 to $4,000 less in business license revenue over time. Given certainly the increase in online sales and deliveries, this is intended to kind of really help that kind of portion of the business community overall. And so as a consequence, that's why we're presenting this to you today. This is the first set of changes. The AWC is also have released not only just this business licensing model update, but has also recently released in the past 5 days a business B&O tax model update as well. So we will need to bring that to you. And that concerns Senate Bill 5814, which was passed this past legislative session, and will require us to update some of the language in our business and tax ordinances or code, basically, concerning advertising services, live presentations, IT services, custom website development, investigation security, temporary staff, and the sales of custom software, which will match basically what the state is currently doing with their business and occupation tax as well. So that's roughly it, and thank you for your support. And this is an ordinance, so 2 readings.
You have no choice.
Yeah, it sounds like even if we didn't go this way, Department of Revenue wouldn't give us a difference anyway.
Yes.
We're okay. Is this an ordinance or is it?
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
And you guys aren't gonna let me waive second reading, are you? Lord, let's just move forward.
The rain on that parade is
Wait.
wild.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know how we would not do this. But okay.
I prefer
All
to
right,
follow
I'll
the
move
law,
forward
so.
ordinance and
Thank
move
you.
forward with that. Thank you.
I think it's just sorry.
Just go ahead.
I think it's just a slippery slope issue. Like we let one go and then what else do we let go?
Never said we wouldn't apply our judgment on letting
I know.
things go.
I know.
Again, I don't know that there is a way to not do this one,
I
but
understand.
if you want to take twice as long to do it, I'm okay. Whatever.
Brett said we have plenty of time. It's not due until the first of the year, right? First part of the year.
Okay. I'm not aware that there was any feedback on legislative priorities. I could be wrong, though.
I actually have.
Okay.
So in speaking with our police chief, I learned that King County is proposing that they would cut funding to the crisis intervention training program that is at the police academy by 75%. That's right now part of a training that's with an ongoing requirement that at least 25% of staff that be trained basically in the 40-hour crisis intervention training. So this would reduce the amount of classes that are being offered to police officers. And so I think I would like to have something put on the legislative priorities to address that. Obviously, the more folks that we can have trained in crisis intervention, the better, especially amongst our first responders.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
One of the other things that I wanted to flag as well, under public safety, we do have recruitment and retention and requesting that we get funding tools to assist the smaller municipalities to recruit and retain. Still would love additional money. Don't think they're going to give it to us. So I think that we should probably update that as well, just with the additional, 0.1% for the sales tax. And then with the other program that they're offering as well, that we've talked about a bit. I think that that one should probably be taken off just because I don't think that there will be any chance that we'll get it. And they probably wouldn't want us to ask, having just done that in the last legislative session. If you think there's another way, let me know.
No, I agree. I doubt it will come. I'm just debating whether or not we should keep asking anyway. But okay. Go ahead.
I would actually be okay with, thankfully, removing the reference to the I-90 Highway 18 interchange. Definitely Highway 18, for sure, and the transfer of jurisdiction, but we have a functioning interchange as it is.
Although
we
you
sh-
don't have all future funding,
For the actual interchange?
Or for the expansion.
no, for I-9 for State Route 18.
Yes, I'm talking about the interchange. Yeah, which is the diverging diamond.
That is true.
Yeah.
We also need funding for State Route 18.
Absolutely. No question there.
Right.
Okay. All right, I'll see if I can change that. And come up with something for, you trust me to incorporate those and bring something to council next week?
Happy to chat more too.
Hmm?
I said I'm happy to chat more as well.
Yeah, if you want to, particularly on the crisis training,
Mhm.
could you draft me a little something? Cause that's
Yeah.
your ballywick, not mine. Yours is an edit to really acknowledge that the interchange, I can go ahead and do that one.
Yeah.
And we'll take it forward to discussion.
Yeah, I call it just like Highway 18 widening or something like that.
Keep asking for that,
Mhm.
as well as the parkway. Okay.
Yes.
All right, any other discussion on the priorities?
There are a million priorities I could add, but it's best to keep the list short and sweet.
Okay.
Do we think that the request for, in terms of the community center expansion, do you think that requesting 5 million is the correct amount now that we're several years later and we know that it's not getting any cheaper to build one? We have whatever the $1.8 million in cost escalations, if I remember that correctly.
So we would just, want to take the dollar figure out.
Does it help us if we take it out? Then they may be like, here's, $100,000, enjoy your pool.
Go ahead. Go ahead, city administrator.
I'm not a finance guy. And I'm not gonna throw something at Drew because I threw it at him earlier, but I think it's too early to tell about the costs driving up. It kind of depends on what the economy is gonna do. It appears things are slowing down a little bit. And that actually would help drive costs down if that happens, because then people are looking for work. The wild card are the tariffs, and where pool equipment comes from and all that stuff. So Drew could probably use financial terms to say
Well,
it,
it's,
but
no, I feel like the economists are on strike because they're having a hard time predicting very much
Yeah.
anything these days. You know, for the most part. So I think it is very difficult if we're gonna start going down a pathway, right, for the most part of that pathway, we need to determine what is the cost today, right, of the project. And so there is time that is involved in assessing what that cost is. Once we have a good sense of what that is, then our ability, we know the revenue that we've generated, right, to date, at this stage. We could then make an assessment based off of that and figure out what the total gap is currently right now. But until we're given direction in the finance department to perform that assessment and really work with the Parks Public Works Department to figure out what that cost increase kind of looks like overall, we're just waiting for direction.
Can we, we could put the little squiggly line in front to say 5 million-ish with a note of plus inflation. Because inflation's gonna inflate, always does. And just go with that as, you know, it's something around $5 million, as a way of saying something around $5 million without taking dollar figure totally out. Go
The-
ahead, Council.
The tilde's already in there. Just the squiggly. So
Okay.
in that case, we just
I
leave it
guess
as
we're good.
is.
We're done, well, plus I would still put inflation in there.
Okay.
But, okay. Good point. Okay,
I'm good with that.
you're good with that? All right, I'll get something drafted up and get it ready for council next Monday. And I think that I don't need to be in my email anymore. Go away. I've lost my agenda. Where are we? That was legislative priorities
be at
and the
agenda.
rest are future agenda items. So let's go on and review the city council agenda. With that, we'll start a roundtable at 6 PM. With that, the special business will be State Auditor's Office Exit Conference Fiscal 2022-2023. Good thing to hear. Then regular agenda starting at 7 o'clock. Call to order, roll call, pledge of allegiance, agenda approval, public hearing, presentation proclamations. We've got proclamation for Kindness Month and Native American Heritage Month.
Chair,
Yes.
we're going to administratively proclaim the second one, Native American Heritage Month. So we'll pull that from the agenda.
Okay, so pull item 3 off. All right. And then we'll go to consent agenda. Okay, never mind. Consent agenda will approve city council meetings, approve claims report. We will also approve the 2 IT agenda bills and move them up under consent.
And as also the school district capital facility
School district capital improvement plan.
and also the public safety, traffic and criminal software agreement
Correct.
from last night.
We didn't discuss, was that
It
agenda,
was at public safety.
was it a consent out of public safety?
Yes.
Okay. I just didn't want to violate the committee.
Yep.
Okay.
There's no cost associated with it.
I like those.
Yep.
All right, so let's move that up also. Which will leave just a discussion on the e-motorcycle ordinance. All right. All right, so we'll move those under consent. We'll have 2 ordinance. We have compost use procurement. That'll be second reading. And we have the agenda bill we discussed tonight, ordinance amending minimum licensing.
Just a discussion.
so the police chief was under the impression that the e-bike ordinance was going at the next meeting, not this one.
No, he knows it's going on this one.
Okay,
I talked to him today.
okay.
It's not the actual ordinance, it's just a
The
discussion.
discussion.
Okay.
He's coming to ask, what do we want to do, right? And it's
Right.
just- Yeah, here are the options. What do you guys, how much do you want to put up with? Something. All right. All right, so we got the two agenda bills plus the other agenda bills we discussed moving up. Public safety, traffic criminal software agreement moved up to agenda bill. We'll have the e-motorcycle ordinance discussion. Parks and Public Works will have,
That was stricken.
that was stricken, so, all Parks and Public Works. Yeah. None. Oh, there, all right, we pulled that one back. Staff's gonna take another look at that one. Finance Administration, will have the resolution, but we moved that up, so Finance Administration will have no agenda bills in the regular session. And the AHBL contract amendment was back to
Stricken.
staff. Server upgrade and storage upgrade were moved up under consent. Resolution amending the financial management policy was pulled from this agenda, so it'll be pulled from the council agenda. And committee of the whole will have time for legislative priorities discussion.
Yes.
And we'll move into mayor's report and then commission liaison reports and then adjournment. Any other alterations or anything I missed?
Sounds great.
Any objection to that as we discussed? All right, let's go with that consent. We'll go with that agenda. All right, that consent agenda and the rest of the agenda. All right. With that, come back here. I think that takes us down to we're at the end of our agenda. If there's nothing else before the committee, we can go to adjournment. Seeing nothing else, unless there are objections, we are adjourned. Thank you all.